Something big just shifted inside the Social Security Administration, and if you're collecting SSI, SSDI, or retirement benefits, this April could look very different in your bank account. The SSA has confirmed payment adjustments tied to the 2025 cost of living increase, and for millions of qualifying recipients, that means checks reaching up to $2,000 are already being processed and scheduled for delivery this April. But here's what most people aren't talking about. Not every recipient qualifies automatically. There are specific eligibility windows, payment dates, and benefit categories that determine whether you see this increase or not. If you've been getting mixed signals from the news, confusing government websites, or half answers from people who don't actually understand how SSA payments work, this video cuts through all of that noise. We're going to walk you through exactly who qualifies, which payment dates apply to your situation, and what steps, if any, you need to take right now to make sure you don't miss a single dollar that belongs to you. So let's start from the very beginning, because if you want to understand what's happening with these April payments, you need to understand the foundation of how Social Security actually works and why this particular month is getting so much attention from recipients across the country. The Social Security Administration manages one of the largest financial programs in the entire world. Every single month, over 70 million Americans receive some form of payment from the SSA, whether that's retirement benefits, disability payments through SSDI, or supplemental income through SSI. That is an enormous number of people, and the system that delivers those payments runs on a very specific, very structured schedule. When changes happen inside that system, even small ones, they ripple out and affect millions of households almost immediately. And right now, in April 2025, something meaningful is happening that every recipient needs to understand clearly. Let's talk about the cost of living adjustment first, because this is the engine behind the payment increases that so many people are seeing reflected in their April checks. The COLA for 2025 was set at 2.5%. Now, some people heard that number and thought it sounded small, but when you apply a 2.5% increase across the full monthly benefit amount that someone has been receiving for years, the real dollar difference can be quite significant. For someone who was receiving around $800 a month in retirement benefits, a 2.5% increase adds roughly $45 per month to their payment. That adds up to over $500 in additional income across a full year. And for recipients whose base benefit was already higher, particularly those who worked longer, contributed more, or delayed claiming until age 70, the monthly benefit can now push into that $2,000 range and even beyond for some individuals. This is real money. This is grocery money, prescription money, utility bill money. And it's money that the SSA has already factored into your April payment schedule. Now, here is where things get really important, because there is a big difference between the three main programs that the SSA administers. And a lot of people confuse them or use the terms interchangeably when they actually have very different rules, very different payment amounts, and very different eligibility criteria. So let's break them down one by one in plain, simple language so you know exactly which category you fall into and what that means for your April check. Retirement benefits are what most people think of when they hear the word Social Security. These are the monthly payments you receive after a lifetime of working and paying into the Social Security system through your payroll taxes. The amount you receive in retirement is based on your earnings history, specifically your 35 highest earning years, and the age at which you chose to start collecting. If you started collecting at 62, which is the earliest possible age, your benefit is permanently reduced compared to what you would have received at your full retirement age, which, depending on your birth year, is either 66 or 67. On the other hand, if you delayed collecting past your full retirement age and waited until 70, your benefit grew by approximately 8% for every year you waited. This is why some retirees are now seeing monthly checks that push well past $2,000, while others in similar life situations are receiving considerably less. The system rewards patience, and those who waited are now benefiting from that decision in a very tangible way in April 2025. SSDI, which stands for Social Security Disability Insurance, is the program designed for working-age Americans who have developed a qualifying disability that prevents them from maintaining substantial employment. To qualify for SSDI, you need a documented medical condition that meets the SSA's definition of disability, and you also need to have worked and paid into the Social Security system for a sufficient number of years. The exact requirement depends on your age when the disability began. SSDI payments are also calculated based on your earnings history, similar to retirement benefits, which means that people who had higher paying jobs before their disability tend to receive higher SSDI payments. With the 2025 COLA now fully applied, many SSDI recipients are seeing their monthly payments adjusted upward. And for those who had strong work histories before becoming disabled, April payments in the range of $1,800 to $2,000 or more are absolutely realistic. What's also important to understand is that after receiving SSDI for 24 months, recipients automatically become eligible for Medicare, which is a massive benefit that many people don't fully appreciate when they first start receiving disability payments. SSI, or Supplemental Security Income, is a different program entirely, and it's important not to confuse it with SSDI, even though both are administered by the SSA. SSI is a needs-based program, meaning it is designed specifically for people who have very limited income and resources, including elderly individuals, blind individuals, and people with disabilities. Unlike SSDI and retirement benefits, SSI eligibility is not based on your work history. You do not need to have worked or paid into Social Security to qualify for SSI. Instead, the SSA looks at your current financial situation, your income, your savings, your assets, and determines whether you fall below the federal benefit threshold. The maximum federal SSI payment for 2025 is $967 per month for an individual and $1,150 per month for a couple. Now, some people hear that and wonder why we're talking about $2,000 checks in the context of SSI. Here's the answer. Many SSI recipients live in states that add their own supplemental payments on top of the federal SSI amount. States like California, New York, New Jersey, and several others provide state-level supplements that, when combined with the federal SSI payment, can push the total monthly benefit significantly higher. Additionally, many SSI recipients also receive SSDI concurrently. This is called concurrent benefits, which means their total monthly income from both programs combined can reach and exceed $2,000 in April. Now let's talk about the payment schedule for April, because this is something that confuses a lot of people and leads to unnecessary worry when a check doesn't arrive on the exact day someone expected. The SSA uses a staggered payment schedule for retirement and SSDI benefits that is based entirely on your birthday. If your birthday falls on the 1st through the 10th of any month, your Social Security payment is sent on the second Wednesday of the month. If your birthday falls on the 11th through the 20th, your payment arrives on the third Wednesday of the month. And if your birthday falls on the 21st through the 31st, you receive your payment on the fourth Wednesday of the month. In April 2025, that means payments are being distributed across 3 separate Wednesdays, and which Wednesday applies to you depends entirely on when you were born. SSI payments, however, follow a different schedule entirely. SSI is paid on the 1st of the month in most cases, though when the 1st falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment is moved to the preceding business day. Understanding this schedule is genuinely important because it prevents unnecessary panic and also helps you plan your monthly budget accurately. There is also a group of Social Security recipients who have been receiving benefits since before May 1997, and these individuals follow yet another schedule. They receive their payments on the 3rd of each month regardless of their birth date. This is an older arrangement that the SSA has maintained for long-term recipients, and if you fall into this category, you already know your payment always comes around the same time each month. The point here is that the SSA has multiple payment tracks running simultaneously, and your specific track depends on your history with the program, not just your birthday. If you've ever been confused about why your neighbor gets their check on a different day than you do, even though you're both on Social Security, this is exactly why. One of the biggest concerns that recipients have right now, and this is something that comes up constantly in conversations across the country, is whether these payments are actually secure. There has been a tremendous amount of uncertainty and anxiety in recent months about the future of Social Security, fueled by political debates, news headlines, and frankly, a lot of misinformation circulating on social media. So let's be absolutely clear about what the facts actually say. Social Security payments for April 2025 are funded, scheduled, and going out. The SSA has confirmed its payment schedule, and there have been no authorized interruptions to benefits for current recipients. The program's long-term financial picture is a separate conversation, one that involves trust fund projections and congressional decisions that haven't been made yet. But for the purposes of your April payment, you are not in danger of missing your check due to any funding crisis. What you do need to watch out for, however, are scammers who are exploiting this anxiety. There are people out there right now calling seniors, sending fake letters, and even creating fake websites that look like SSA pages, all designed to steal your personal information or your money. The real SSA will never call you and demand payment. They will never threaten to suspend your benefits over the phone. They will never ask for your social security number via email. If you receive any communication like that, it is a scam, full stop. Let's also talk about something that many recipients are not aware of, and that is the concept of retroactive payments and back pay. If you recently became eligible for social security benefits and there was a delay in processing your application, you may be entitled to back pay covering the months between your eligibility date and the date your payments actually started. This back pay is paid in a lump sum, and for some people it can represent several months' worth of benefits arriving all at once. If you believe you are owed back pay and haven't received it, this is the time to follow up directly with the SSA, either through their website at SSA.gov or by calling their national helpline. Don't let money that belongs to you sit uncollected because you assumed the SSA would take care of it automatically. They process thousands of cases every day, and sometimes things fall through the cracks. Being proactive about your own benefits is not just smart, it's essential. Another thing worth discussing is the earnings limit for people who are receiving Social Security retirement benefits but are still working. In 2025, if you are below your full retirement age and still working while collecting retirement benefits, there is an earnings limit of $22,320 per year. If you earn above that amount, the SSA will temporarily withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn above the limit. However, and this is really important, those withheld benefits are not lost forever. Once you reach your full retirement age, the SSA recalculates your benefit amount and gives you credit for the months when benefits were withheld, which results in a higher monthly payment going forward. So if you're in that situation right now, don't panic about the withholding. Think of it as a temporary adjustment, not a permanent reduction. For those who are approaching retirement and haven't yet claimed their benefits, April 2025 is actually a meaningful moment to pay attention to, because the decisions you make in the next few years about when and how to claim will determine your monthly benefit amount for the rest of your life. The SSA's online tools, particularly the My Social Security portal available at SSA.gov, allow you to see your full earnings history, your projected benefit amounts at different claiming ages, and your current status with the program. If you haven't created an account there yet, doing so costs nothing and takes less than 15 minutes. Having that information at your fingertips is genuinely valuable because it lets you make informed decisions rather than guessing or relying on secondhand information from people who may not understand the specifics of your situation. Let's come back to the recipients who are actually seeing those larger checks this April, because it's worth painting a clear picture of who these people typically are. They are often individuals who worked for 35 or more years in jobs with solid wages, who delayed claiming until 66 or 70 to maximize their monthly benefit, and who may also be receiving Medicare as part of their overall package. They are SSDI recipients who had strong earnings records before a disability changed their lives. They are couples where both spouses receive benefits and whose combined household income from Social Security now comfortably exceeds $2,000 per month. They are people in states with generous SSI supplements who are also receiving concurrent SSDI payments. In other words, these $2,000 checks are not mythical or out of reach. They are the real confirmed payments going to real people this April based on decisions they made, work they did, and eligibility they earned over a lifetime. The most important thing you can do right now is know your own numbers. Know what you're supposed to receive this month. Know which Wednesday your payment is scheduled for. Know whether you're on SSI, SSDI, retirement benefits, or some combination. Know whether your state adds a supplement to your federal benefit. Know whether there is any back pay or adjustment owed to you that you haven't yet received. Because when you have clarity about your own specific situation, you are in a position of power. You are not waiting around hoping things work out. You are actively managing your financial life with real information, real numbers, and real confidence. And that is exactly what this channel is here to help you do every single week.